Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I will be working on a continuation of my balloon animal series. The last one that I did was based on a blue theme, and I really want to try out another one based on a red theme and with also the idea of balloon animals, but I want to try a different technique. So the last one I used a lot of diluted water gouache to mark down where the background was. For this piece I decided to use a darker color for the background and then add lighter layers on top. So just to explain again, the last piece is from light to dark and this one is from dark to darker, I would say, and then going back to light. Don't know if that kind of semi makes sense, but it's kind of like a opposite technique, going from light to dark and dark to light slightly. So for this one I definitely added too many dark colors for the red in the background. I'll have to add lots of light colors afterwards to kind of brighten up the piece. I've actually not have a specific fondness for balloon animals. I would say I'm really definitely afraid of balloon animals popping, but I really love the idea of painting these because they seem so whimsical and so fun to paint, and just like much of a stress reliever, given that like as long as you get the approximate shape of the animal, some blotchy artness that kind of comes with it, it just kind of works out into a piece. I don't know if that's a great way to put on it, but lately I've been just looking for something different, step outside my comfort zone and just try different things out, and kind of fell nicely into this. Here I'm adding in some darker shades of color to mark down where the end of the neck will be, beginning of the legs will begin. Speeding it up for you guys. I actually do have a reference picture of how a balloon animal looks like, so this is not coming straight out of my head, by the way, in case you guys are curious. If you like the content on this channel, please consider like, subscribe, and commenting. It really does help a lot with the channel. So for now I'm gonna just continue to narrate briefly. You can see that I'm adding the darker color onto this balloon animal and it's looking not bad so far. I would say it looks a little balloonish already, but I would say it's very dark and overall, and for me I love pieces that are a little bit lighter, brighter, and more dreamy, and this is just not the color tone that I'm really used to. Here you can see I'm actually using both a combination of Holbein acrylic gouache and also a Turner acrylic gouache. I picked these up on my trip in Sakaido, which is an art supply store in Japan, many years ago, but I got these really large tubes there and I've still been using it. One thing I would say to make sure that you keep the longevity of your acrylic gouache paint to prevent them from drying up and having little bits is, one, to make sure that you tighten the lid right after you using it and not to keep the lid off for extended periods of time. The other thing is not to expose water to the gouache on the inside of the tube. In the past I had just dipped directly my brush into the end of the tube and maybe add a little bit of water and dipping it in, and that does not help with the longevity of the paint itself. I would say it caused problem probably near the end of the process, given that like I do go through my acrylic gouache quite quickly, so maybe the issue was not as prominent, but like years later if you're still using the same color you will definitely notice that it's taking a toll on your art supplies. So at this point I think I spent around, I would say roughly around 2 hours on this piece of painting. You can see now I'm adding on more highlights onto the piece to make the balloon really stand out and pop a little bit more with all the reflection and shininess that comes out of it. I think it's definitely looking a lot more balloon-like at this point. I find that these pieces are very relaxing to do because it's not as black and white on what's right and wrong, given that there's so many reflections and pops of colors everywhere, and I feel like it's really easy to work on a piece like this because it's something that I can stop halfway through and go back to, given I'm just adding layer after layer of color. I must say it does look really intimidating if you're drawing balloon animals for the first time. When you look at the piece and you're just stunned by the amount of color and the splashes of color, and it all looks really busy and detailed. But once you start working on it, like if you just take it one step at a time, it's really not that bad. And looking at this piece, I'm now debating about like, should I work on a third one for the series? Because like I mentioned before, when I did my first balloon animal, which was the blue animal, I was debating like, oh, I should do another one and another one. I think at some point I probably have to branch out, maybe do other types of balloon animals, but maybe I'll do one more to make a series of 3. What do you guys think? I do want to add another character here, sitting on the balloon animal to kind of make the series a little bit more unified. But I hope it works out, given that like I know that some of these pieces are not necessarily like crowd pleasing. They're more for like my own self-interest, and also for myself to kind of learn and push my boundaries and try new things, rather than just keep painting animals or like anime fan art, but just trying different things out and like trying to see how I can integrate some of these techniques into my other pieces. At this point, just speeding things up. I really hope that I could actually paint this fast. Just makes it a lot faster, but like really in reality, I think I've probably spent a day and a half on this piece at this point. Well, I really do hope you enjoy the art time lapse of this balloon animal and the second one in the series, because I really had a wonderful time painting it myself. Here, adding in some darker colors. For the red, I've actually added in some ombre brown to mix it in to create a little bit darker tones. Of course, you can add in some cobalt blue of your red to create the darker tones. I just feel like it adds so much more dimension and makes the painting so much more interesting, rather than just adding black to the shadow area. Looks like a really shiny balloon animal, doesn't it? So here I have a little girl lying on the side with another stuffed animal on the side as part of the continuation of the series. Well, I think I'm about wrapped up for now. Thank you so much for joining me on this art time lapse. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, if you like the content on this channel, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It'll really help a lot. Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me on this artist journey, and I'll see you next time in another art time lapse. Take care and stay creative.